Okay, strap yourselves in for this one, folks, because today's deep dive is going to get a little wild. We're talking about stellar engines. The idea that some civilizations out there might be so advanced that they can move entire star systems.
The scale of engineering is almost impossible to imagine. It's not like sending a little rocket out there. This is talking about taking a whole star, or even a binary system, and piloting the whole thing through the galaxy.
But it makes you wonder why. Why even bother with something so massive?
Well, the paper we're looking at today really dives into that. It's called the Spider Stellar Engine, a fully steerable extraterrestrial design. And it's by Clement Vidal. He lays out some really compelling reasons why a civilization might want to do this. Imagine your civilization's about to get wiped out by a supernova, or you're running out of resources, or maybe you just want to get ahead of the expanding universe. But the paper goes even further than just the why. It also gets into the how of stellar engines. And the most mind-blowing part is that we might actually be seeing these things already.
Really, we're already observing stellar engines.
Vidal thinks it's possible. They could be disguised as natural phenomena. He focuses specifically on a type of binary star system called pulsars, black widows and redbacks. They're fascinating because they seem to be slowly evaporating their companion star.
So not like most pulsars that are pulling matter in.
Right, it's almost like a cosmic vampire situation.
Like it's sucking the life out of its neighbor star.
And that actually ties into some of Vidal's earlier work, where he proposed this idea of stellivores, civilizations that feed on their companion stars for energy. But in this new paper, he takes it a step further. He suggests that these spider pulsars could actually be stellivores that have figured out how to harness that energy to move their entire star system.
And how would that even work? What's the mechanism behind a stellar engine like this?
It all comes down to the pulsar's intense radiation, those beams of X-rays and gamma rays. They essentially use that radiation to heat up the companion star until the outer layers boil away and create a powerful stellar wind.
So they're not actually building giant rockets or anything. They're manipulating the star's own energy to create thrust.
Exactly. They're creating a controlled directional explosion, and they're using the companion star as fuel.
Okay, I kind of see how that would work. But we're talking about moving an entire star system.
Yeah.
That would take an incredible amount of energy, right?
It would, but that's where pulsars come in. These are collapsed stars, incredibly dense, spinning at crazy speeds. The energy they emit is just mind-blowing.
So if you can control that energy, you could theoretically steer your whole system through the galaxy.
Exactly.
Like a cosmic sailboat, but powered by a dying star. This is all pretty amazing, but is there any evidence to back this up? What are some of the signs that a spider pulsar might actually be a stellar engine in disguise?
That's where things get really interesting. There are certain characteristics of spider pulsars that, when you look at them through this hypothesis, they start to look a lot like signs of deliberate engineering.
What kind of evidence are we talking about?
Well, for one thing, the outflow velocities we observe in some spider pulsars. The speed at which the stellar material is being ejected is high enough to escape the system's gravity, and that's essential for generating thrust.
Like the exhaust from a rocket pushing the star in the opposite direction.
Exactly. And it gets even more interesting when you look at the different types of spider pulsars. Black widows, which have lower mass companions, tend to have higher transverse velocities compared to redbacks, which have more massive companions.
So the black widows are zipping around faster than the redbacks. So you're saying these characteristics of spider pulsars, the things we might normally think are just natural variations, they could actually be clues to their artificial nature.
Exactly. And there's more. Some spider pulsars show signs of asymmetric heating or orbital variations, things that are difficult to explain through natural processes alone.
So we've got these spider pulsars acting a little strange. But how do we know for sure if it's a natural quirk? Or if it's a sign of deliberate engineering? What would convince you, as a scientist, that we're actually looking at alien-built stellar engines?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's something that Vidal tries to address in the paper. He highlights specific examples of spider pulsars that show particularly compelling evidence.
Okay, this is where it gets good. Let's hear about these cases. What are we looking at here?
Well, there's one called PSR-J 1959 plus 2048. It's a black widow pulsar, and it's projected to have a close encounter with another star in just a few centuries.
Wait, is that the one in figure 3 of the paper? The one that looks like it's on a collision course?
That's the one. Now, it could just be a cosmic coincidence, but it's also possible that this black widow is actually decelerating, lining itself up for a capture maneuver.
Capturing another star. Wait, hold on. We need to unpack this. That sounds like something out of science fiction. But if a civilization could build a stellar engine, could they really pull off something that audacious? Capturing another star. Okay, my brain is trying to keep up here. How could a civilization possibly wrangle an entire star and add it to their collection?
Well, think about it this way. If you can already move your own star system, you've basically got this giant gravitational lasso.
You're using your star's gravity to pull in a passing star,
Yeah,
like a cosmic game of tug-of-war.
exactly. Of course, the precision you would need for that kind of maneuver would be unbelievable. You'd have to time it perfectly, calculate all the gravitational interactions, make sure you don't mess up your own star system in the process.
No pressure, right. But seriously, why go through all that trouble? Why not just find a nice star system and settle in?
Imagine you're on this journey across the galaxy. Your resources are running low.
So you're not just looking for a new home, you need a new power source, like stopping for gas on a cosmic road trip.
I like that. That's a great analogy. And instead of just trying to park next to another star system, which could have all sorts of unpredictable gravitational consequences, capturing a star lets you integrate it into your existing setup.
It becomes a part of your convoy. That makes sense. It's a much more controlled approach. But let's get back to that Black Widow pulsar for a second. PSR J 1959 plus 2048. You said it seems like it's slowing down as it gets closer to that other star. If it really is a stellar engine getting ready to capture that star, how would that even work?
Well, just like a spacecraft doing a gravitational assist around a planet, a stellar engine would have to adjust its speed and trajectory to match the star it's trying to capture. It might involve a series of carefully timed engine bursts, using that stellar wind from the companion star to slow itself down and position the whole system for a capture.
So we could actually see this happening, like observe a pulsar slowing down in a way that doesn't make sense with our current understanding of physics.
We could. It would be subtle. But if we know what we're looking for, like changes in the pulsar spin rate or the way the binary system is orbiting, we might be able to spot the signs of a stellar engine at work.
That's incredible. It makes you wonder how many other things we see out there, things that seem natural, could actually be signs of advanced technology.
It really does. It's a humbling thought that we might be surrounded by evidence of civilizations far more advanced than our own, and we're just starting to scratch the surface.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about why a civilization might want to capture a star and how they might actually do it. But what about the stellar engine itself? How would you build something like that, something capable of moving a whole star system?
Well, like we said, the paper focuses on this specific type of stellar engine, the one that uses a pulsar's energy to evaporate its companion star and create thrust. And the key to it all is harnessing that pulsar's radiation output.
Those crazy beams of X-rays and gamma rays. It's like they're pointing a death ray at their companion star.
Well, maybe not that dramatic, but the energy involved is immense. The challenge is focusing that energy, turning it into a force that can actually move something.
How do you do that? Do you build giant structures around the star? Or is it more about manipulating the star's magnetic fields?
It's probably a bit of both. The paper suggests using powerful magnetic fields to channel that stellar wind, almost like a nozzle on a rocket engine. These fields could be generated by massive structures orbiting the pulsar, or maybe even by manipulating the pulsar's own magnetic field.
You also need incredible control to actually steer the star system.
You're absolutely right. And that's where this concept of a steerable stellar engine comes in. Vidal proposes that a civilization could achieve this by modulating the pulsar's beam, using it to push on the companion star in a specific way.
So not just a constant beam of energy, more like turning a cosmic blowtorch on and off to steer the star system.
That's a good way to put it. Imagine using a series of pulses, creating a kind of push-pull effect on the companion star. By adjusting the timing and intensity of those pulses, you could theoretically control the direction of the thrust and steer the whole system.
What about pitch and roll? How do you change the whole system's orbital plane?
That's where it gets even more mind-blowing. Vidal suggests that a civilization could do this by heating the companion star unevenly, focusing more energy on one side than the other.
So you're creating a hot spot on the star, which generates an uneven push and tilts the whole system.
Exactly. Kind of like how a hot air balloon rises. By carefully controlling where that hotspot is, you could manipulate the system's orbital plane, allowing for pitch and roll maneuvers.
I'm trying to picture this. We're talking about using a pulsar's energy to nudge an entire star system in a certain direction, like some kind of cosmic ballet, but with stars instead of dancers.
It's an amazing concept, and it shows the incredible precision that a civilization would need to build a stellar engine.
It also makes you realize how much we still don't know about the universe. and all the possibilities out there. Until then, I guess we'll just have to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep letting our imagination soar.
I couldn't agree more. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be the ones building stellar engines and shaping the universe ourselves.
Now that is a thought to leave us on. This has been an absolutely mind-blowing deep dive. Thank you so much for taking us on this journey.
It's been my pleasure.
To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this incredible journey.
Until next time, keep diving deep.